I am sitting on my front porch right now, drinking my morning coffee, looking at the house next door. 1 year ago, I thought my marriage was perfect. I thought my wife was the love of my life, my forever person. Then she told me she wanted to explore what real men were like. Those words shattered everything I believed about us. But here is the strange part. That painful request led me to something I never expected. True happiness. And it came from the most unexpected place. Before I share this story, let me know where you are watching from today. Drop your location in the comments. If you believe everyone deserves to be valued and loved, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Have you ever had someone try to break you only for it to be the best thing that ever happened? Stay with me. I met Meredith 8 years ago at a company party. She worked in marketing at a firm downtown, and I was a software engineer who rarely attended social events. But that night, something pushed me to go. The moment I saw her across the room, I could not look away. She had this confidence about her, this magnetic energy that drew people in. She noticed me staring, walked over, and introduced herself. We talked for 3 hours straight. By the end of the night, I knew I wanted to spend my life with her. We dated for 1 year before I proposed. She said yes, without hesitation. Our wedding was small but beautiful. Family and close friends gathered in a garden venue on a warm September afternoon. I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. Here was this incredible woman choosing me. Quiet, steady, predictable me. 7 years of marriage followed. I thought we were happy. I worked hard, got promoted, and eventually earned enough to buy us a nice house in a good neighborhood. I handled most of the finances because Meredith preferred not to deal with numbers. I did not mind. I cooked dinner most nights because I enjoyed it, and she worked late often. I cleaned, did laundry, maintained the yard. I thought being a good husband meant taking care of things so she did not have to worry. Looking back, I realize I was not the most exciting person. I did not plan elaborate surprises or spontaneous trips. I was consistent, reliable, and present. I thought that mattered. I thought she valued that. About 6 months before everything changed, I started noticing small shifts in Meredith. She joined a new gym and went almost every day. She bought new clothes more revealing than her usual style. She started wearing makeup even on weekends when we stayed home. I thought maybe she was going through a phase wanting to feel good about herself. I supported it. I told her she looked beautiful. Then she started mentioning Brad. He was a new guy at her office, apparently charming and successful. Every dinner conversation somehow circled back to him. Brad closed a huge deal today. Brad drives a Tesla. Brad invited everyone for drinks after work. The way her eyes lit up when she talked about him made something uncomfortable twist in my stomach. But I pushed it down. I trusted her. She began going out more with friends. Girls' nights became twice a week, then 3 times. She came home late sometimes, past midnight, smelling like cocktails and perfume I did not recognize. When I asked about her evenings, she gave vague answers. I told myself I was being paranoid. I tried to reconnect with her. I planned date nights at restaurants she mentioned wanting to try. She showed up distracted, checking her phone constantly. I bought her flowers randomly. She thanked me without really looking at them. I suggested a weekend getaway. She said she was too busy with work. Then came the Friday night that changed everything. I had spent the afternoon cooking her favorite meal, lemon herb chicken with roasted vegetables and a good bottle of wine. I set the table, nicely lit some candles. I wanted to remind her of our early days when simple dinners at home felt romantic. She came home, saw the setup, and smiled. But it was not a warm smile. It was the kind of smile you give someone when you feel sorry for them. We ate mostly in silence. When she finished, she put down her fork and said we needed to talk. Those 4 words never lead anywhere good. She started with, "I love you, but..." Then she told me she wanted an open marriage. She said she felt trapped, suffocated by routine. She wanted to feel alive again, to experience passion and excitement. She said I was safe, comfortable. but safe was not what she needed anymore. I remember staring at her, waiting for her to laugh and say she was joking. She did not. Then she said the words that broke something inside me. I need to explore what real men are like. You are safe, Hugo. But safe is not exciting. I could not breathe. It felt like she had reached into my chest and squeezed my heart until it stopped. My own wife, the woman I had devoted 7 years to, was telling me I was not man enough for her. She kept talking, trying to soften the blow. This does not mean I do not love you. I just need more. We can both see other people. It might even make our marriage stronger. I found my voice long enough to ask what she expected from me. Was I supposed to just sit home while she went out with other men? She laughed lightly. You can do whatever you want to, but let us be honest, you're not exactly the type women chase. That sentence hung in the air between us. She said it so casually, like she was stating an obvious fact. The sky is blue, water is wet. No woman would want you. I did not respond. I could not. I just sat there while she talked about rules and boundaries, things that seemed absurd given what she was asking. No bringing anyone to our house, no affecting our finances. Keep it discreet. That night I lay beside her in bed, but I had never felt more alone. She fell asleep easily, as if she had not just dismantled our entire marriage over dinner. I stared at the ceiling until sunrise, wondering when I had become so invisible to the person who promised to love me forever. The days that followed were a blur of manipulation and pressure. Meredith sensed my hesitation and deployed every tactic she could think of. Some days she was sweet, affectionate, reminding me of why I fell in love with her. She would cuddle close and whisper that this could save us, that she just needed this one thing. Other days she turned cold, barely speaking to me, making me feel like I was the problem for not agreeing immediately. She accused me of being old-fashioned, controlling, insecure. She said if I truly loved her, I would want her to be happy. She said my reluctance was proof that our marriage was already dying. I was exhausted, confused, desperate to save what we had, even though I was not sure what we had anymore. Against every instinct screaming in my chest, I agreed. I told myself this was temporary. Maybe she would get it out of her system and come back to me. Maybe I was being too rigid. We set rules. No bringing anyone home, no spending money on other people. Keep everything separate from our daily life. She agreed to everything instantly, relief washing over her face. She kissed me and said I would not regret this. I already did. The first week she went out with Brad. I watched her get ready, putting on a dress she had never worn for me, applying makeup with careful precision, spraying perfume on her neck and wrists. She looked stunning. She looked like she was going on her first date. Before she left, she kissed my cheek and told me not to wait up. Then she was gone, and I was alone in the house I had worked so hard to buy for us. I sat on the couch television playing something I did not watch, counting the minutes until she came home. She returned at 2 a.m. She went straight to the shower, then slipped into bed without a word. I pretended to be asleep. I did not want to know anything. The weeks turned into a nightmare. She went out constantly, each time with someone different. She would come home glowing, energized, while I felt more drained with every passing day. I tried to maintain normalcy. I still cooked dinner, still maintained the house, still went to work, and pretended everything was fine. But then she started comparing me to them. Jake took me to this amazing restaurant downtown. You never think of places like that. She said this while eating the dinner I had prepared for her. Marcus is so confident. He walks into a room and everyone notices him. Then came the worst one. You know what I realized I settled when I married you. Every comment was another cut. Small, precise, designed to make me feel worthless. When I finally asked why she kept telling me these things, if she wanted to hurt me, she shrugged. I am just being honest. You wanted honesty in marriage, right? I started doubting everything about myself. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was boring, unremarkable, easy to overlook. My appetite disappeared. I threw myself into work, staying late at the office to avoid coming home. Friends started asking if I was okay, noting how much weight I had lost, how quiet I had become. I lied and said I was fine. 2 months into this arrangement, a moving truck appeared next door. Our neighbor had sold the house and moved away, and someone new was taking over. I was mowing the lawn when I noticed a woman struggling with heavy boxes, trying to carry them from the truck to the front door by herself. I walked over and offered to help. She straightened up, pushed hair from her face, and smiled. It was a genuine smile, warm and grateful. Her name was Nadia. She was 31 with dark brown hair and green eyes that seemed to catch the light in interesting ways. She had just finalized a divorce and moved to the city for a fresh start. She worked as an architect and had accepted a position at a local firm. We spent the afternoon moving boxes. She was easy to talk to, asking questions about the neighborhood, the best places to get coffee, which grocery stores to avoid. Normal conversation, simple, comfortable. Over the following weeks, I found myself helping her with small things. The kitchen faucet leaked, so I fixed it. She could not figure out how to assemble a bookshelf, so I put it together. Each time we would talk a little longer. She asked about my job, and when I explained what I did, she listened attentively, asking follow-up questions that showed she was genuinely interested. One evening, after I helped her hang some pictures, she said something that stopped me cold. "You explain things so clearly. You must be really good at what you do." I did not know how to respond. Compliments had become foreign to me. I mumbled something dismissive, but she shook her head. "I mean it. You should give yourself more credit." I thought about that comment for days. When was the last time Meredith had said anything positive about me? When was the last time anyone had I want to be clear about something? My friendship with Nadia was completely innocent. I never crossed any lines, never entertained thoughts of anything beyond neighborly kindness. She was simply a person who treated me with respect, and I had forgotten what that felt like. One evening, I sat on my porch after a particularly difficult day. Meredith had come home late, again barely acknowledged me, and gone straight to bed without eating the dinner I made. I sat outside in the cooling air, wondering how my life had arrived at this point. Nadia walked by, returning from a late evening at work. She saw me sitting there and paused at the edge of my driveway. "You look like you could use some company." She sat on the step next to me, and we talked. Not about anything heavy at first. Work, stress, the weather, a funny thing that happened at her office. But eventually the conversation shifted to deeper topics. She talked about her divorce, how her ex-husband had been emotionally absent for years before she finally found the courage to leave. I found myself opening up slightly about my own situation. I did not share details, just admitted that things at home were complicated. She did not pry, just nodded with understanding. After a long silence, she said something I will never forget. "Can I be honest with you?" I nodded. She told me she had been observing me since she moved in. She noticed how I kept the yard immaculate, how I always waved to the elderly couple across the street, how I carried groceries for the single mother 3 houses down when her hands were full. She saw how I fixed things, helped people, showed up consistently. Your wife does not see what she has, but I do. My heart started beating faster. I did not know what to say. She continued, "I am not trying to cause problems. I would never try to break up a marriage. But I want you to know something. You are not invisible. You are not boring or unexciting. The way she treats you, that is not about you. That is about her." She paused, looking directly at me. "If you were mine, I would never let you feel invisible." Then she stood up, wished me good night, and walked to her house. I sat there for another hour, her words echoing in my mind. Someone saw value in me. Someone noticed. A few days later, I came home from work to find Meredith in a strange mood. She was agitated, pacing around the kitchen, barely looking at me. Finally, she asked about the neighbor. I played dumb. "What about her? I saw you two talking outside. I saw the way she looks at you." What is going on between you? The irony almost made me laugh. Here was my wife, who had spent months sleeping with other men, suddenly concerned about me having a conversation with a neighbor. Nothing is going on. We talk sometimes. She is just a neighbor. Meredith narrowed her eyes. I do not believe you. I saw how she smiles at you. I felt something shift inside me, a spark of anger I had been suppressing for months. Even if there was something which there is not, is this not what you wanted, open marriage? Your idea. That is different, she snapped. I did not expect you to actually find someone interested. There it was, the truth she had been hiding. She expected me to sit home alone while she had her adventures. She expected me to remain faithfully waiting her backup plan, her safety net. She never imagined anyone else would want me. What did you expect, I asked. That I would sit here like a loyal dog, watching you have fun, waiting for you to come home. She did not have an answer. Over the next few days, Meredith became obsessed with Nadia. She watched from windows whenever I was outside. She made snide comments about how desperate single women could be. Her jealousy was almost absurd given the circumstances. Then she decided to confront Nadia directly. I was at work when it happened, so I did not witness the exchange. Nadia told me about it later. Meredith had marched over to her house and demanded she stay away from her husband. Nadia remained calm, explaining that we were just friends. Then she asked the question that reportedly made Meredith furious. Why do you care? From what I understand, you are the one who wanted to see other people. Meredith insisted I was still her husband. Nadia responded simply, then treat him like one, because right now you treat him like an option, not a priority. Meredith apparently said some cruel things before storming off. Nadia did not repeat them. She just said that my wife clearly had some issues to work through. When Nadia told me what happened, something inside me finally broke. But not in a painful way. It broke like chains breaking. I suddenly saw my situation with complete clarity. That night I waited for Meredith. She knew something was different the moment she looked at me. I told her everything I had been holding inside. I said I had agreed to her open marriage because I thought I was saving us. But I realized there was nothing left to save. She did not want a partner. She wanted someone to come back to when she was finished playing. A safe harbor, a backup option. She tried to backtrack. She said she had made a mistake and wanted to close the marriage. She wanted things to go back to how they were before. I asked her what that meant. Did she want to return to when she told me I was not a real man? When she said she had settled, I told her I had heard every single word and I would never be able to unhear them. I told her I wanted a divorce. She cried. She begged. She said she loved me. I looked at her and said something that had been forming in my heart for weeks. You do not love me. You love having me. There is a difference. After she went to bed, I called my older brother Derek. He was a lawyer in a different city, and while he did not handle divorces, he knew people who did. He listened without judgment, told me he supported whatever I decided, and promised to connect me with a good attorney. That night, I slept on the couch. For the first time in months, I slept peacefully. Meredith did not accept the divorce easily. For weeks, she tried everything to change my mind. She became the attentive wife she had not been in years. She cooked dinners. She suggested date nights. She cried and promised to change. She even proposed marriage counseling. I considered it briefly, but I realized the fundamental problem could not be fixed by therapy. She had shown me who I was to her, a safety net, someone to fall back on when excitement faded. I could not unsee that. After 2 months of resistance, she finally accepted reality. We sold the house and split everything fairly. There were no dramatic fights over possessions. We had both checked out emotionally, and the practical matters were handled with business-like efficiency. I found a small apartment across town. Nothing fancy, just a clean space with good light and a small balcony. I signed the lease and moved in with only what I needed. Starting over felt terrifying and liberating at the same time. The divorce was finalized 4 months after that night on the porch. I received the final papers on a Tuesday afternoon. I sat at my new kitchen table looking at my signature on the document and waited to feel something dramatic. Instead, I just felt quiet relief and a little sadness for the years that could not be recovered. Healing did not happen overnight. There were difficult mornings when I woke up reaching for someone who was not there. There were evenings when the silence of living alone felt overwhelming. I questioned my decision more than once. Maybe I should have tried harder. Maybe I gave up too easily. But then I would remember her words. I settled when I married you. You are not exactly the type women chase, and I knew I had made the right choice. I started going to the gym, not to impress anyone, but because moving my body helped quiet my mind. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected during my marriage. We went fishing on weekends, watched football games, had conversations about nothing important. I rediscovered hobbies I had abandoned. I read books again. I tried cooking new recipes just for the joy of learning. My brother Derek called every week. We had drifted apart over the years, both busy with our own lives. Now we talked regularly, sometimes for hours. He visited once, and we spent the weekend doing nothing special, just being brothers again. Nadia and I stayed in touch. After I moved, we met for coffee occasionally. Then coffee became dinner. Then dinner became movies and walks and long conversations that stretched past midnight. I was not ready to rush into anything new, and she understood. She never pressured me, never made me feel like I owed her anything for her kindness. One day she told me she had waited a long time for her own happiness, and she was willing to wait a little longer. Those words meant more than she probably knew. Slowly, I learned something important. Before I could love anyone else properly, I needed to love myself. Not in a narcissistic way, but in the way of treating myself with the same kindness I had always given others. I had spent years taking care of Meredith, neglecting my own needs, accepting treatment I never deserved. I needed to unlearn those patterns. A year after everything ended, I was sitting on my small balcony drinking morning coffee when my phone buzzed. It was Nadia asking if I wanted to get breakfast. I smiled and typed my response. I would love that. As I got ready to leave, I thought about everything that had happened. My wife had wanted an open marriage because she thought I was not enough. She believed she needed real men to feel alive. Instead, she lost the one person who had always been there for her. And I found someone who saw my worth when I could not see it myself. I do not hate Meredith. I genuinely hope she finds whatever she was searching for. But her happiness is no longer my responsibility. My responsibility is to myself now, and to building a life that honors who I am. Sometimes the person who tries to break you ends up setting you free. And sometimes the love you deserve is just next door, waiting for you to see your own worth. I grabbed my keys and headed out the door, walking toward the morning sun. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone make you feel like you were not enough, only to later realize they were wrong? I would love to hear your story in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and share it with someone who might need to hear it today. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss future stories. Thank you for watching, and remember, you deserve someone who chooses you completely, not someone who treats you like an option. Take care of yourselves.